So gratitude for all, transforming difficulty into spiritual practice. Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name again is Karen DeCotis, and although Ruth introduced me, I took great pains to write this, so I'm going to say what I wrote. I am an ordained Zen Buddhist priest and a longtime Buddhist practitioner. At the Bozeman Dharma Center, I'm the director, so I'm balancing programs among 6 different Buddhist groups and developing meditation and retreat programs for beginners and experienced practitioners. I was raised Catholic, which may have given me a love of ritual, as well as for religious costume and paraphernalia, bells, incense, For me, the ritual of acknowledging our spiritual life is so nourishing. The Unitarian service here is a beautiful expression of bringing form to that which is also formless. So I would like to welcome everyone here, and especially those who are here for the first time. I congratulate you for standing up and saying your name. This is my second time here, and I'm grateful for the warm welcome and opportunity to speak with you. Thank you to Reverend Margot for inviting me and having me here, and my good friend, lay leader Rose, plus our singers Elizabeth and Olga, and one more Barbara, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. So let's break down this title of the sermon, Gratitude for All, Transforming Difficulty into Spiritual Practice. That is a boatload of heavy topics, right? Let's start with what's practice. Our basic Buddhist meditation is about 2 things: sitting upright, which you are all doing now, and breathing, which you are all doing now. So it's great, you're already practicing. But now we want to bring attention to our breathing. It's what's always happening in the present moment, so it is a great touchstone. We are breathing and we have a body. For some of us, the body is a source of pleasure and ability. And for many of us, the body is steadily becoming a source of frustration and degeneration. But it is our vehicle in this life. So our Buddhist practice encourages us to be present with it. And why would we do this? The Buddha and many sages have found that to ignore this is to spend our good energy grasping for that which is fleeting and ultimately disappointing. Being present with our actual experience, with minimizing our reactions and complaints, leads to a lovely and peaceful acceptance. Things as they are. It can still be difficult not because we are trying to escape. When you try to escape what's going on, it kind of gets worse. But it can be lovely and peaceful, even though life is basically full of difficulty. So anyone can do this practice, no matter if you have some other religious affiliation or spiritual practice. Christian, Jew, Muslim, secular humanist, psychic, atheist, everyone can sit still and be present with their life and feel the present moment of your actual living. You're living right now. It's kind of amazing, really. So this basic meditation practice extends into our everyday activities. The training of sitting upright and following our breathing, coming back to being present, helps us to be present for anything we do, standing, walking, lying down. My favorite is washing the dishes. I don't know why, but I have a thing for washing the dishes. And imagine being present for playing with your dog, talking to your friend, driving your car, facing your bills. With your breath and upright posture, everything in our lives takes its rightful place. When I took on being the director of the Bozeman Dharma Center, I gave myself this mantra. It's a meditation center. If I get anxious about it, I'm missing the point. Breathe. Do I get anxious? Yes, I do. Okay, so that's a little something about practice. Transformation. I'm sure there's whole books written on this, but we think of transformation as change. It's that deep, mysterious change where something fundamental shifts into a new context. Our feelings can shift. Circumstances are always changing. Our health changes. Relationships deepen or wane or go away completely. Birth and death are the fundamental transformations in our human life. These are out of our hands. There is so little in life that we can actually control, and often we are not very wise about what it is we can do something about. Some of you are no doubt familiar with the Serenity Prayer. Someone told me where it's from. I can't remember. You probably know. Grant me the patience to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we can't really do transformation. Like, we don't do it, but it does happen. When I am really caught by some state of mind that I cannot or will not shake, I don't seem to be able to will myself into a wholesome place. How do I practice then? What is the practice? I can be present. I can remember to be present. First, remember. Be patient and have some self-compassion for my state. I can be mindful and attentive and just allow the transformation to occur. Most things take care of themselves. And things are changing all the time anyway. Mostly they flow and are born and pass on, especially if we let them. The premise here is difficulty can transform. We can't necessarily do it, but it can be done. However, the title of this talk did not say that difficulty would transform into pleasant experience. It didn't say it would change into goodies and prizes. So that's kind of the bad news, but it can transform into a wakeful and intentional spiritual life. That's the gift. So now a little about difficulties. So we've done practice, transformation, difficulties. That's why we're all here. We are all too familiar with difficulty, pain, irritation, not getting what we desire, losing what we have. Our relationships are not perfect. Often they are quite difficult. Life offers so many beautiful and joyful things. Food, personal favorite, opportunity, travel, friendship, sensory experiences. Even when it all goes pretty well, the nagging fear that pleasantness will end is also a source of stress. You know, you get what you want, but deep down there's a fear of when's it going to end. So even pleasure is painful. Life, right? Life is stressful. So much can go wrong. It's amazing to me that things go as well as they do. You know, that my car starts, that I'm walking down the stairs without falling. It's like so many things go right. It's a great way to appreciate things, right? So there are various realms of difficulties which I like to explore. There's the basic irritations, you know, of physical things not working out, packages not opening, people being late, like just all the irritation of life. There are the circumstances that can be difficult, our health, our finances, our living situation, our relationships, all the circumstances that come up all the time. Then there are our personalities, our psychological tendencies, kind of who we've become in this life, the way we relate to the world, other people, ourselves. We have temperaments and tendencies that, especially left unexamined, can cause a lot of pain or discomfort or really deep suffering. Here's one of the ways I suffer that I thought would be relevant. I really enjoy being up here speaking to you. I'm doing my best to be present, to take a breath, to not miss this and just sort of, but I do not enjoy preparing for this. I do not. I like teaching. I love the teaching of the Buddha. I dislike very much preparing to do it. Yesterday, as I was continuing to prepare, I had such aversion, I literally worked on my taxes. That was more comfortable for me. It's kind of like in high school, math homework was easier than writing a paper, you know. So examining this has yielded rich information for me about myself. I don't completely understand it, but I'm able to have some self-compassion and bring presence to bear, sitting down, having that uncomfortable feeling in my stomach, checking my posture, having another cup of tea, making effort. So you gave me this opportunity to practice, and I'm grateful for it. Not pleasant, but awake. So life also offers us another level of difficulty, the more catastrophic types that happen to us or that we are aware of for other people, and we suffer over and feel mostly powerless. Deaths of loved ones, extreme and dangerous health conditions, environmental disasters all over the world, so much poverty right here in our country and our community where so little progress has been made, mental health crises, wars, violence. One swipe at the news can be overwhelming. There is much grief and discord. It's not our fault, but we are asked to be responsible, to have a response that can help. What is that for you, for me? Life, though, has always been like this. It's always been a struggle, whether for survival physically, trying to protect ourselves, our loved ones, conflicts among workers and owners, the rich, the poor, the believers. It's always been this way. When we find ourselves suffering, upset, or in a bad mood, if various states of unrest visit you periodically, or frequently, or ever, it's good to remember there's not anything wrong with you. Our difficulties and our reactions to our difficulties, they're not an indication that we are somehow bad or wrong or alone. This is how life is. This is how humans are. I find this very comforting, even though it doesn't seem very cheerful. It's actually kind of a relief. The burden can sort of be put down. So our spiritual practice is not to be above our humanity or life, but to embrace it, to work with it, with dignity and acceptance and love. And when we can, our compassion for ourselves and others grow. We can even listen to those whom we most oppose. Hear them. Be interested. Those who oppose us do not have to cause us great unrest, because we can breathe. Then we may discover a most helpful and appropriate response. So here the Buddha taught something of a starting place, a way to allow our perspective to shift, to be in alignment with our best, to see life clearly. They are called the 5 remembrances. They go like this. I am sure to become old. I cannot avoid aging. I am sure to become ill. I cannot avoid illness. I am sure to die. I cannot avoid death. I will be parted from all that is dear and beloved to me. Actions are my protections. Actions are my possessions. Actions are the womb from which I have sprung. I am heir of my actions. As I do, so shall I become. So in Buddhism, we have shorthand, old age, sickness, and death. It sounds depressing, but actually can be refreshing and help us reframe our days. And these remembrances help us to face all the loss that we are unconsciously gripping around all the time. We all know we're going to die, but we don't believe it. So bring it forth. Give ourselves some solace. Actions mean how we think and how we speak and how we act. And if we remember the tender vulnerability that life is, we can train ourselves to act with compassion. So I'm going to tell this story and then get on to gratitude. This is a great story from this same book that some of us are studying. It's a Zen story about a monk called Bird's Nest Roshi. Roshi means old venerable teacher. Bird's Nest Roshi meditated in an eagle's nest at the top of a tree. Obviously very dangerous. One gust of wind or a sleepy moment and down he would go. Song Dynasty poet and government official Su Shi visited and asked him, why did he do such a dangerous practice? Roshi answered, you call this dangerous? What you are doing is far more dangerous. He means living normally in the world, ignoring death and impermanence, loss and suffering as if it were a safe way to live. It is actually far more dangerous than going out on a limb to meditate. So while trying to avoid difficulty is understandable, it doesn't work. It's actually dangerous. And we can see this when people cannot face their pain and thereby inflict it on others. When we can prevent pain and difficulty, let's do that. Of course, let us use our discernment so we can make intelligent choices and not just be completely at the whim of life. But facing and accepting with patience and some wisdom is what allows transformation to occur. As an individual, as a group of spiritual practitioners who have promised to help this burning world. So, on to gratitude. Where does gratitude fit into all this? Seems like, God, well, it sounds depressing, Karen. I mean, it's like life is full of difficulty and it's only getting worse. Where does gratitude fit in to all this recognition of suffering? It has to do with another dimension of our human life. Just as there is stress and difficulty, there is also this amazing interconnection. Our dependence on each other for our very lives is profound if we just consider for a moment how much others do for us so we can live. You cannot hold a piece of paper and not be connected to the universe, the tree, the sun and water, the paper mill and workers and truckers and the store clerk and the car that drove you to the store. Consider just one meal that you eat and examine all the effort that went into it. My son and I say a verse before we eat together. We venerate the three treasures and give thanks for this food, the work of many people and the suffering of other forms of life. So to be grateful, I believe one must practice gratitude. You have heard that it is not happy people who are grateful, it is grateful people who are happy. This is true. A good way to practice this gratitude is to remember our interdependence with people and all of life. Always remember to be grateful. Always remember the extensive support you receive just to wake up and have your day. For our life, for our difficulties, be grateful. We get to be here. When someone harms you, it wakes you up. I don't wish harm to anyone, but I do wish for you to use such an occurrence to remember the joy of living. Remember that who causes you harm has so many causes and conditions moving them we can't possibly understand. But we can accept, respond appropriately, and have some gratitude for that which we can handle. And if we can't handle it, we get help. And it's another opportunity to be grateful. So when I deeply consider what sustains my life, I feel so lucky that I want to share it with everyone. Thank you.